Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our first session of Asana on the mat together. Um, I am going to begin. Um, I'm going to try to break this into sessions so that you will be able to get the videos because if they're too long, it's just kind of hard to send them. So I'm going to start with just some information about yoga, brief information. So, yoga, uh, the root word, I think there's yuj, to yoke, to connect, to unite. All right, and that's what yoga is about. It's about connecting the mind and the body, the breath and movement, spirit and humanity, yoga, uniting opposites or creating harmony. So, one of the 8 limbs of yoga, because there are many parts to the practice of yoga, which is a way of living. Um, One of the limbs is asana. Asana is yoga on the mat. It is considered the physical practice of yoga, which builds the balance of strength and flexibility, effort and ease on and off the mat. Asana prepares us for higher limbs of yoga, among other benefits. Um, a respect for all body types and alignments is crucial when practicing and teaching yoga. So, yogis, people who practice yoga, are of all different body types, of all different, alignments, the way our bodies are put together. So that just means that as you're practicing yoga, you will have to find what works for you, or as you're practicing asana, you will have to find what works for you. And if some of the moves don't work for you, you will have to find a way to align yourself. And I could help a little bit, but you would know inside of yourself what's comfortable and adjust yourself accordingly. All right. So before we even get started, some of the reminders that I want to give to you about practicing asana is one, extension versus compression. So we're going for extension of the body and not compression. For instance, compression, extension, right? Okay. Compression, extension. And not to overdo it, like we don't have to because then I'm compressing the back. So just a neutral position where things are lined up. All right. Also, remember that when whatever is touching the mat would need to ground into the mat. So, for instance, when my hands are touching the mat, I'm using the pad of my hand and my fingertips to ground into the mat when my hands are touching the mat. Okay, so that way I'm not just using the wrist of my hand, and I'm not just putting all the pressure on my wrist, but I'm balancing. All right, when my legs are on the mat, or if I'm on my knees, I am pressing this whole part from the top of my foot and all up my shins onto the mat, trying to, not so much on my knees. So I'm pressing down into this part of my leg and my foot onto the mat, and my hands are balancing out the weight there, right? As I'm pressing it, almost to the point where I could lift my knees if I needed to off the mat. Okay. Relaxing shoulders. So I said that in compression and extension. You're going to make sure that your shoulders are relaxed and not up around your ears, because then you're compressing. Intention. Bring intention to your work so that you're not just being slouchy and just loose with it. Bring more intention so that I am attending to the muscles and making sure that I'm engaging them. So I'm engaging my core. I don't have to suck my belly button into my back, but I do need to make sure that I'm engaging it, that I'm giving some type of muscle tone here, so that I support my bones as I move through all of the asana poses. So, same with the knees. You know, as I'm doing my poses, I'm engaging my thighs here, and not just putting all the pressure, not just being loosey goosey. So I'm going to engage some. You can see my what are these? The ham or the well, you can see my muscles tightening here. I can't think right now, but I'm sorry. Quads. All right. So I'm engaging them, but not tightening everything. Just engaging it. Just making sure it's just not totally loosey goosey. All right. I don't have my glasses. I can't see what I wrote there. Oh. Keeping my breathing relaxed, so and natural. All right. So although as the instructor I might call out breathing cues, like to inhale during this part of the move or exhale during that part of the move. I did that the opposite way, but just you have to kind of find where that works for you. So if don't try to keep up, like, oh, I forgot I'm supposed to inhale here, oh, I'm supposed to exhale, oh wait a minute, because then it throws you all off of the move. So just kind of go naturally with the flow of your breathing. Eventually it'll make sense to you eventually when to inhale and when to exhale. And we can talk about that a little bit more later also. The other tip that I want to explain or to say is to remind you is just be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Yoga is a personal practice. So don't push yourself beyond limits to where your body is comfortable, and don't stress yourself out. Oh, I got to do it just like this or just like that. It's a personal practice. So it won't look the same for everybody. As I said before, our bodies are aligned differently. Our abilities are different as far as limber and stretching and flexing and all that. So don't be stressed. Don't beat yourself up. Enjoy the practice of asana. Listen to your body. So if something is hurting, if it's painful, back off. No pain, no gain is not what we're going for here. If it is painful, you need to back off, ease off of it. It can be a little bit uncomfortable or tight or pulley, like this is pulling. I feel a muscle kind of stretching a little more than normal. But if it hurts, then that's your body telling you to back off of that for now. It's not time for that yet. So listen to your body. Neck and torso align in most cases, unless you're doing an extension of the head. But in most cases, the neck and torso will be in alignment. So I'm not going to be doing compressing here because that's not in alignment. So I want to have my head in alignment with my torso. Not here and not here. Okay. I keep saying I'm sorry. Stack for balance and for weight bearing. So when I say stack, hips over the knees, right? Hips over the knees. Wrist, elbows, shoulders. Stack right over each other. So I'm not here, and I'm also not here. Stacking. Got it? Okay. I said before to engage your core and engage your muscles. Flex your feet if you have bad knees. So if you have knee issues, even when you are just sitting in the easy seat or the resting position, Sukhasana is the Sanskrit name for it. For me, I found that if I flex my feet, then it doesn't hurt my knees. And they told us that in class. For some reason, it releases some of the ligaments and things when you flex back this way. So flexing the feet will protect the knees. If I point my toes, I'm pulling, and it's pulling on the knees, on the kneecap. Okay, ooh, get that? All right, listen to my body. Pad up the knees. So there might be times during the lesson that, oh, I took my blanket downstairs. There might be times during the lesson that you need to be on your knees. And if you have trouble with your knees, there are a couple ways you can pad up. You can roll your mat so that it gives you some padding under your knees, or you can actually have a blanket. And I didn't bring my blanket. I took it downstairs this morning because I was cold and I was practicing. But anyway, so just pretend this is a blanket so you could roll the blanket up and put it under your knees. And that's another tip for your knees. Power belly breathing. Inhale. When you inhale, you expand your rib cage out in all directions. So when I'm inhaling, and when I exhale, I pull in and push up. Inhale, exhale. Journal. Bring a journal. Bring a journal, especially if we're doing meditation and mindfulness before our yoga asana practice. And then finally, for yoga, you will need a block or two. Sometimes they come, most of the time they come in sets of two. Before I got a block, I used a box. It has a book in it, which makes it, able to withstand the pressure of my body. And you can see that they're about the same height. All right, so something that can withstand some pressure. And then you also will need, of course, a mat. This one's kind of soft and squishy. I have one that's really flat, and I have one that's really squishy. It depends on how you want to do. The really squishy ones are a little bit difficult sometimes when you get into standing poses, because they kind of throw you off balance because they are so squishy. But then they feel good when you're sitting and when you're doing other poses. You need a mat, a block, or two blocks, a bolster. And a bolster is like a big pillow. I can show you one later. And then a strap, sometimes like a belt, almost. 8 feet, I think it is, long, a strap. And most of the props, like I said, you can make them, except, the mat. And you probably could make that too, I don't know. You just want something that doesn't slip and slide. I'm on carpet, but if you were on hardwood floors, you wouldn't want a blanket because you wouldn't want it to slip and slide. You want it to remain, still have some grip. I believe that's it for just some foundational information and some reminders that you might need in your practice of asana. All right, I'm going to go into a short sun salutation, or just to show you the basic foundational move. Oh, I'll go to a warm-up too. So I'll do that on another video so that it doesn't take as much time. All right, this is your reminders and a little bit about yoga and a little bit about asana. All right, I'll be back with you later.